In 1925, Denver was a thriving young metropolis. Local bankers held dollars in trust for charity, and they pooled these dollars into a new kind of organization, a community foundation. They called it the Denver Foundation and recruited local leaders to give away its grants. Their names are among the most revered in our community's history: Emily Griffith, Ira Rothgerber Sr., Martin O'Fallon, and J.K. Mullen, to name a few. Mullen actually gave the foundation its first gift from a living donor, $1,000. Their goals live on, their message embraced by future generations. Now the Denver Foundation will exist forever, growing and changing to meet the needs of their community in partnership with today's generous donors and those still to come. In 1925, a public safety net for Colorado children didn't exist. There was no Department of Human Services, no Division of Child Welfare. What did exist were places like No. 9 Pearl Street, a home for working boys, and St. Clara's Orphanage. Both received grants from the Denver Foundation in the 1930s. Today, programs like these are only a memory, but the Denver Foundation still helps children from low-income families grow up happier and healthier. Funding from the Denver Foundation supports early childhood education and numerous after-school programs for kids.
Our investment in after-school programs ranges from investments in sports, in arts, culture programs, academic enrichment, and it's really the diversity of this programming effort that is helping to support children engage stronger and better to their everyday at school.
In the early 20th century, there was no Department of Veterans Affairs. Yet thousands of returning veterans from World War I and then World War II needed services. The Denver Foundation helped these veterans and many others, especially when they needed an artificial limb or a wheelchair. In the first 50 years of the foundation, over $400,000 helped more than 11,000 Denver residents. That represented 40% of the foundation's grant dollars in its first half-century. Today, the Denver Foundation continues its mission to help those in need. It provides access to health care for low-income and uninsured families.
Issues around health change all the time. So that when the foundation is able to adjust with community input and address the issues that are affecting our populations, I think the focus and the attention and the money is given to the right causes and for the right reasons. So I think the foundation is contributing greatly by being responsive to community needs, and I think being able to be flexible and quick on their feet, they're able to respond to the issues that are affecting our public, and particularly our public's health.
Since the economic downturn, the Denver Foundation is working to meet the growing challenge of hunger in our community. It turns out this is one area where things haven't changed. In 1932, the foundation gave a grant to the Food Preparation Clinic to help them instruct the poor in preparing food. Today, the foundation funds Operation Frontline. It's a program of Share Our Strength, which does the same thing. It teaches low-income families how to prepare nutritious food on a tight budget. At the same time, the foundation is working to end hunger in Colorado.
Back in 2008, when our board chair at that time, Rich Lopez, was playing Santa Claus, I think up in Boulder County. And he came back with some heartbreaking stories about how kids, instead of asking for toys, were asking for food. Around that same time, our staff also briefed us about the state's dismal efforts in providing food stamps and food resources to Colorado families. And that's what those two events prompted us to take further action.
It always takes that first investor, that first visionary that can say, this is possible, this work is possible, and the Denver Foundation was that visionary.
It's sad that in a country like ours, which is one of the most powerful and profitable and just countries in the world, that we still have people that are hungry. That's why the Denver Foundation stays involved and will remain involved. And the hope is, in 20 to 30 years, hunger will be like wooden legs for veterans. I'd love to hear people say about, remember the time when we used to have food pantries or soup kitchens. We shouldn't need those now, and yet there is a need, and that's why we're involved.
We know is really that two-pronged approach is what it really takes to address a problem like hunger. We need immediate solutions. People need to be fed today. But we also need to look at what are the systemic changes so that kids aren't hungry tomorrow, so that 25 years from now, people can say, hunger, we don't have hunger here.
The reason the Denver Foundation can address issues that change over time and those that continue to need our attention is because generous donors give gifts to the community endowment. Donors like Irene Rothgerber, whose bequest in the 1980s has already given double its original value in grants to nonprofits, and it continues to grow. This year, her legacy supported numerous organizations, including her alma mater, the University of Colorado, and victims of the 4 Mile Canyon fire. Donors like Clarence Worthen, who received his law degree from the University of Denver in 1912. He left his legacy to the Denver Foundation in the 1960s, and this year he helped fund programs through the Capitol Hill Community Services, Warren Village, and Metro Caring. Donors like Frances Charsky, who left the foundation a generous legacy just a few years ago. This year, Mrs. Charsky's gift helped fund dozens of organizations, including Denver Urban Gardens, Central City Opera, and Youth Biz.
Denver Foundation is a vehicle that can adapt to the community's needs as time goes forward. It would be impossible, I think, to draw a will and anticipate in your will the needs that the community might have in the future. So the flexibility that the Denver Foundation provides in terms of meeting changing needs is unique and is really a wonderful benefit to the community.
The Denver Foundation is a place where the word forever takes on real meaning. Frances Charsky, Clarence Worthen, and Irene Rothgerber gave gifts to the community that will continue helping Metro Denver forever, no matter how the needs of our community and its people change. We can all become part of this powerful tradition by becoming members of the Denver Foundation's Community Legacy Society. Through our legacies, we can help Metro Denver thrive for generations to come.